Guys, so I thought I'd share with you a couple of really easy paper treatment techniques that you can do with your students. I recently did this with my second grade students. In 30 minutes, they produced 4 really beautiful prints. So I thought I'd share that with you and how easy the process is. The kids did 2 shaving cream prints, which shaving cream prints produce this really beautiful result. It looks a lot like actual paper marbling, and you can use any colors that you want to. I gave them a limited palette, and they were to produce 2 of these, and then we also did something called floating chalk prints, which were really fun and easy to make as well. They're using these for the covers of their rainbow book that we're working on, and this was just a fun way to break up that lesson and introduce them to something new, and they absolutely loved it. Super fun, super easy. Let me walk you through those steps. Hey guys, let's talk about how to do those floating chalk prints. You're going to be amazed how easy they are. Each one of my students has a shallow pan of water like this, and I give one to each one of my students because I only have 30 minutes with this particular grade level. It's second grade that I did this with. And I want them to each be working the entire time. And these are just those plastic bins that came from the drawers, the plastic set of drawers. And I happen to have a bunch of these because I bought a set for each table. So I fill them just with water. That's all that's in here. Maybe just an inch. You don't need a lot. So nothing added to the water. And then the kids are using popsicle sticks and chalk. Now, the chalk we use is, it's the size of sidewalk chalk, and that's a great size because then it's easy for them to hold and scrape. I wouldn't recommend using sidewalk chalk simply because it's always very pale in color, and then your prints are going to be very light. But hey, if it's what you've got, it's worth a shot. If you're using your regular chalk, your chalk pastels, they're a little bit smaller, so it might be a little trickier, but your older kids could totally handle it. The only thing is that it uses a lot of chalk. So if you're going to do that, maybe use your less expensive chalk pastels for that, not your good stuff. So all I do is I tell the kids, you're going to work over your pan, and you're just using your popsicle stick like your well, for you, because these guys aren't exactly peeling carrots and potatoes at home, but it's just like peeling a carrot or a potato. You're just scraping. And I don't really give the kids much direction other than make sure that you fill your pan with color. And I don't tell them that it has to be any certain kind of colors. And because the chalk dust is so lightweight, it just sits right on that surface. If they don't fill the tray completely, any parts that are not filled with chalk are going to end up being white, leaving your paper white. So there you go. I just scraped it a little bit. It'll probably make for a light print. We'll see how it goes. When my students walk in the room, I have all of them grab about 4 sheets of paper. They do 2 chalk prints, and then they do 2 marble prints. I have them grab 4, go ahead and get their name and teacher code on them right away, and then I give the directions and let them get started. Their names, I tell them, need to be looking at the ceiling. To do this kind of print, you need to bend your paper like a letter U and just lower it into the pan of water gently. It needs to just sit on the surface. You don't want it going under the water. And you can let it sit there, and when it starts to curl up at the edge, you can peel it out and you can see your really cool print. The key is, though, when you do this, it might look a little bit muddy, and that's just the water sometimes sliding off it. So I tell the kids to hold it over the pan of water and have their fingers do a little bit of a tap dance for 10 seconds. And then they can lay it flat on the table to dry. When it dries, and I have one I did just a moment ago, this one I only very quickly scrape just 2 colors. And I don't mind the white because I think that kind of adds to the beauty of the print. This is chalk. However, because it's got water mixed with it, you don't have to set it, meaning you don't have to spray it with a fixative or an Aquanet. However, if the kids rub all over it, well, then it's going to smear because after all, this chalk. We're going to use these as our book covers for the rainbow books we're making. So we're doing a bunch of different paper techniques. So this, as you see, is chalk marbling. And how easy is that? Can you make a print now, T?
Yeah.
You got enough pink on them? You have your name on all of your papers, right? Good job.
Oh, Miss Stevens, look how beautiful.
It is beautiful. I can't wait to see your print. Good job lowering that slowly, Toledo. Looks like it's curling up at the edges. I think you're ready, babe. Here, off one side.
I'm done.
Woo, to Layla Marie. It looks like a galaxy. Make sure you tap dance the back, babe. Let that water drip. There you go. Nice job. All right, let's talk about shaving cream marbling, which is a really good time. I really like using these containers again because then it keeps the shaving cream in a smaller space. If you do it on a table, a surface like this, it's great at cleaning your tables afterward, but I've noticed that the kids just keep spreading the shaving cream out further and further, which means they need more shaving cream. So this helps this helps to keep it contained. So I just use whatever inexpensive shaving cream I can find at the dollar store. I've got liquid watercolors here, a paintbrush for each color, and again, those tongue depressors, paper with their name already written on it. So when I know that the kids are ready and they're standing behind their chair, because this is kind of like a standing activity, I walk around and I just give them a little bit in their tray. They don't need a lot. They might think they need more, but explain to them that this shaving cream, it expands. So you don't actually need a lot. And you can help it expand by just gently massaging it onto your tray. Now your goal is not to fill the whole tray. It's just to kind of create a nice flat surface, or as flat as you can get it. So there we go. In fact, I probably could really use a little bit more, but we'll see how this print goes. The thing is that if you keep giving them more and more, you might end up running out for your classes. And I tell them they should only have this part of their hand have shaving cream on it. We don't need to be massaging into the back of our hand. And once they've got it kind of smooth, scrape it along the edge to get most of it off of their hand so they're ready to start. And when you're doing this, I like liquid watercolors, because with pan watercolors, I've noticed that you have to keep adding more water to it, and you really don't want this shaving cream to get any more watery than it already is. I noticed that it just ends up becoming kind of a drippy mess. And I tell them just to put the paint on the surface. They don't have to smash the brush into it. And this is the kind of activity where kids could get carried away pretty easily. So I let them know right up front that if I see them making a mistake or not following directions, that while their friends are printing, they're going to be hanging out on the floor thinking about their unwise choices for a couple of minutes, and then I'll give them a second chance. And when one person gets reprimanded like that or has to take a break, I've noticed that the other kids really straighten up, because they know that I'm serious, and they know that the rules that I'm giving them and the directions that I'm giving them, that they need to follow them. Now, you could go ahead and pull a print like this, like a polka dotted kind of marbling print, but the fun is in the feathering, I think. So I tell them to take their tongue depressor, and you're just very gently touching the surface of the shaving cream. You're not digging it around. You're using just the tip, and you're only touching the surface. Again, you could print it like this, but I like to do feathering in the opposite direction, which makes it look a lot more like actual paper marbling. And once you've got it, take your paper, make sure your name is looking at the ceiling, and press it down. Now, ours, I'm not really concerned about filling the whole paper, because we're going to be cutting these into smaller squares, like I said, for the cover of their rainbow book. This one, I tell them, unlike the chalk one, you kind of do have to massage that paper, press it down pretty firmly into that tray, and once you feel like you've got it smashed, peel it out, set it on the table, and scoot that over so you can see it, with your tongue depressor, your fingers are going to have to hold one in still, and with your tongue depressor, scrape all the way across. Get all of that shaving cream off, and then just scrape it back into your container. This one's pretty cool. Not this print. I mean, it is cool, but I mean, this activity is pretty cool. So it's a lot of fun. The kids have a great time, and I know a lot of friends were asking, so what do you do about this? Do you then give them more shaving cream? Do they keep going with this? Yes, just keep going. I mean, right now I don't have tons, so if somebody didn't have that much, I might give them a little bit more. Again, massage. It's okay now that you've got a little bit of color on there, because now you won't have white areas. And scrape. So we'll just see how a second go round goes. But that's what I've been doing, is not cleaning these out in between classes. I have 2 second grade classes back to back. So, of course, the first class is going to have a little bit more cleaner marble prints, and the second one's going to have colors that are a little bit more mixed. That's just the way it goes. They're still going to have an awesome experience, and they're really not going to know any different. So, yeah, I'm just going to see how this one goes with the second round of marbling. There you go. I mean, you can see the colors are a little bit more muted, but it still looks great. So, and you got to make sure that they do scrape. I still have a little bit of shaving cream on there. They do need to scrape all of that off. I thought that if I came back the next day that perhaps it would be gone. It doesn't just vanish. It becomes this, actually I'll show you. It becomes kind of weird and foamy and puffy, which you can still scrape, but since it sat damp overnight on your paper, it could put a hole in it. So they need to make sure that they scrape it completely off. And there you go. Pretty cool stuff.
Right there.
That looks great. And then why don't you now wipe your hands, scrape your hands.
Got that.
Nabiha, don't forget to scrape. Good job, friend. Massage it, Aiden. This one you can press pretty firmly. Oh, it looks like a sun, doesn't it? That's beautiful, Talayla.
1, 2, 3.
Okay, Aiden, now what's the next step, bud?
Let's do this.
Let's do this. Ooh la la. Wow, Aiden, that is so cool. Beautiful work, buddy.
We did a masterpiece.
Well, you'll be doing that next